Hello, I'm Amy and this video is part of my Reknit Revolution project. I'm going to show you how to do the main bit of the stitch hack process, laddering and reforming columns of stitches to create something like this. So I've shown how to open part of a row and hold the stitches safe in a previous video, and this is where we got up to. To create the stitch hack design, I need to ladder and reform each column of stitches one by one, and I work from left to right. So to start, I expose the first stitch on the left, which will be this one. So I want it to run down, so I just started off using the blunt knitter's needle to help me. Once I've got it started, I can usually then tug alternately, kind of top to bottom and side to side, and it'll usually run down quite nicely. If you have a very fuzzy fabric or well-worn fabric, you might need to do the whole thing kind of using the needle and giving it some more help. So I need to ladder it down as far as I want the design to go, and if I've planned out my design on graph paper like this, then I can count those rows and I know how far I need to go down. So that'll include 10 rows for the motif and 4 for the clearance section between the motif and the open row, which is that there. So I need to go down 14 rows. So I'll count that now. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so now that I've laddered, I'm going to reform these stitches, this column of stitches, into a new design. And if I reform the stitches from the front of the fabric, this side, then I'll form knit stitches, as in I'll put them back exactly as they previously were. But if I do them from the back of the fabric, I'll form purl stitches appearing on this side, so creating a new structure and a new pattern. So I'm going to turn the fabric over and start reforming them from this side. You can reform your stitches with a crochet hook or a latch tool. So if you do it with a crochet hook, you'd be going something like this, putting your hook into that bottom loop. Make sure you don't miss a strand like I just did. Okay, and then picking up the next loop and pulling it through. So that's okay, and will probably be familiar to knitters who have dropped stitches and had to repair them back up again. But the other option is the latch tool, and this takes a bit of getting used to, but I would say is generally quicker and easier and involves kind of less movement than a crochet hook once you've got the hang of it. And the latch tool has this little latch that opens and closes, and it's actually a needle from a knitting machine. It's exactly the same thing. Okay, so to use the latch tool, I need to put the hook first of all into that loop that I'm wanting to work from, and then I turn the tool sideways to slide under the thread above. I push it so the old stitch goes behind the latch, and then I pull, and the new thread needs to be inside the hook. When I pull, that old stitch slides up and over. So again, I turn sideways to go under that thread, push, so the old stitch goes behind the latch, pull, and it slides over. I'll do a few more. Okay, so I'm coming close to the top of the row now, and I need to do that clearance section, which is the 4 clear plain knit rows between the motif and the opening, which just lets you get everything back kind of straight and normal before you have to do the closure of the opening later on. So what I need to do is now pass this stitch to myself so I can reform it from the other side of the fabric. So I'm just going to tug the loop up, remove it from the hook, turn the work over, pick the loop up from this side, like that, and then again form those stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there we are. I'm back where I started, but I've made these stitches into pearls. So I'm going to stitch through from front to back to hold that stitch safe. I'll just keep that out of the way. Okay, so I'll do another one a little bit quicker. So I'll let that ladder down. I can use the previous column as a guide. I don't necessarily need to count all the way down this time, but it is quite easy to get one row out. So just be careful as you're doing it and kind of check your work as you go along. So here I am in line. I want this column to be the same as the last one. So I'm going to pick up that loop and reform these stitches. Oh, did that wrong. Go back. It's important as you form the stitches that you make sure, this is whether you're using the latch tool or the crochet hook, make sure that you're picking up the loop above in the middle of the strand, and you can kind of spot it by the kink of the stitch that's there. You're aiming for kind of the top of that kink and pull it through so that you're not going over to that side or over to that side, because that would make your stitches be kind of squished over to one side and look a bit messy. If you do find that you've mucked something up, you can just drop the loop off your hook, ladder back down again and do it again. Okay, so now I've finished that section. I'm ready to return to knits. Pick that one up. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. There we are. So you can see when you only have one column of purl stitches by themselves, they tend to sort of recede into the fabric, but once you've got a couple, they show themselves a bit more. So again, front to back. Okay, so let's do the next one to show you. So I'm kind of starting off this motif. I've done this column and this column. The next one, I want to have 2 pearls, 2 knits, 2 pearls, 2 knits, 2 pearls, and then the 4 knits. So I'm going to have to do more swapping between knit and purl. So let's do that. Again, I can use the last column as a guide. I think I just need to do 1, 2 more. Okay, so I'm turning over to this side. I'm going to pick up that one. So I just want to do 1, 2, and then pass it over to this, to the front. Pick that one up. 1, 2. One, 2. Get in there. This is something to bear in mind when you're making a design. The more changing you have from knit to purl, the more time it'll take. That's it. So I did have that twisted initially there, but now I've got it straight. 1, 2. And finally, oh, getting caught, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can see how the sticks of the E are beginning to form there. And I could, if I wanted to do the whole E, obviously carry on. But I'm going to show you something a little bit different instead. I'm just going to leave 1 stitch's kind of gap between that part of an E and the next thing. Okay. So you can see here how you can build up a pattern using knits and purls, configured in whatever way you like. So there's now some nice variations you can do on this technique, and I'm going to show you one of them, which is creating double gauge stitches. And you do that by laddering 2 columns at once. So I'm going to ladder these 2 last stitches down and do something with them. Okay, so I can take that thread out now. And again, just like before, let's ladder that down. Keep going. Again, I've got the challenge of making sure I'm still in line. So that was the bottom loop last time, that one. So that'll be this one. I need to take that one out, and that one. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is pick up these 2 stitches together and then pull 2 strands at a time through the loop, and I'll create this kind of double gauge section within the fabric. And I could do that from the knit side, or I could do it from the purl side. I'll do it from the knit side to show you the effect that it creates. Okay, so I'm going to pick up those 2 bottom stitches, both of them, onto my tool. I'm going to treat them as one thing now, so they'll be sliding behind the latch together. I'm going to pick up again, just as before, the middle of the strand, but I'm picking up 2 strands together. Slide and pull through. Pick up 2. Note that because it's the middle of 2 stitches, it's sort of the valley, as it were, of this double column that I'm picking up and pulling through. So I'm using the tool in exactly the same way, but just as 2 strands coming through at a time. And you can start to see the nice pattern that it creates. Again, important to stay in the centre. Oh, I've gone too far. Let's take that one out. Okay, got carried away there. So need to stop with the 4 clear rows above. And so to finish off this double gauge section, I can just split my 2 loops, hopefully you can see that, and make them go 1 in each direction. So I'm going to pick up this front one first and go back to just picking up a single strand from the top of the kink. There we are, and I'm ready to pick that one up so it's safe. And now pick up the second loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so then front to back. Okie dokie. So we've returned these stitches back as they were, but we've created this new pattern underneath. This is just a little sampler of 2 different techniques, but hopefully you can think about how you could use those patterns and combine them together to create all kinds of endless opportunities for motifs and designs, that kind of thing. So there we are. We've got the designs done, and so in the final video I'll show you how to graft the opening closed to finish off the stitch hack. Thank you.